This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So when you become a famous politician, it seems that the natural thing to do is to write a book. Even if you're a dummy, the likes of equal to Sarah Palin. And that's the case with Lauren Boebert, who wrote a book. Well, someone wrote a book for Lauren Boebert. And The Independent has got a copy of it, and they've read it. And their headline of this article is, "We read Representative Lauren Boebert's new book, so you don't have to. Here's what's inside." And maybe surprisingly, maybe unsurprisingly, depending who you are and how you view the situation, brace yourself. Here is the excerpt from the book. It's wild. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, it's fun to have fun. She did write a book, though, and it is interesting, some of the takeaways. And some of the takeaways I'm going to talk about here very briefly are about the incident that has gone viral on Twitter. If you go online at all and hear about Lauren Boebert and how she met her husband, I always reserve judgment on things that are super salacious and sounding crazy. But she just fully admitted of the incident that took place with her meeting her husband, where he exposed himself to her and minors that she ended up marrying. She was 16 dating a 22-year-old man. They met like at McDonald's or something. It is bizarre, the things that she's putting out there into the world as though it's totally normal. Reading from this article, brace yourself, we get glimpses at her early life, including a bad relationship with a toxic stepfather and her excitement for her first job slinging burgers at McDonald's. But it isn't long before the book's true purpose as a vehicle for MAGA ideology becomes unambiguously clear. After the Jesus, guns, and flag-waving heavy introduction, she eventually begins discussing her mother's reliance on welfare. This is a talking point Ms. Boebert has touched on frequently during her time in politics, but she laments the welfare system, the same welfare system that extricated her mother out of poverty, lifted she and her family from poverty. She laments the welfare system, and while agreeing that social safety nets are necessary, argues that the U.S. system encourages government dependence. She praises her mother for eventually getting a job and getting off assistance, celebrating the liberation as a victory over Democrats who she believes want to keep the public suckling from the teat of social programs in order to control them. It is somewhat bizarre that Ms. Boebert takes this view, though, as her mother, using welfare as a safety net until she was stable enough to find gainful employment and leave the system, is actually precisely how the program is intended to work. They are hypocrites who demonize social safety nets, even after they've taken advantage of them and they worked perfectly as designed. Gross. If anything, her mother is a poster child for the efficacy of the system, but she does not see it that way. They go on to say, we learn about Miss Boebert's first meeting with her husband, which she says Hollywood couldn't have scripted any better. He was 22 and hit on her, age 16 at the time, at a Burger King. Sorry, I got the fast food slop wrong. It wasn't McDonald's, it was Burger King. From that moment, this is a quote from the book, from that moment, Jason Boebert and I have been together. When he was 22 years old, I was already out of the Marine Corps by 22. And she was years from being out of high school. She assures us her mother was fine with the arrangement and warns any Karens reading the book that they broke no Colorado laws while they were dating. This section of the book also contains Miss Boebert's version of the now infamous story about her husband allegedly showing his penis to a minor at a bowling alley, She claims that her stepfather and husband went bowling to bond and that a bartender who had heard whispers of Mr. Boebert's much talked about genital tattoo pestered him to show it to her. Drunk and allegedly upset at the lewd requests made by this woman, Mr. Boebert stood up and acted like, in Miss Boebert's words, he was going to unzip his pants. The police get involved. There's the yada, 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 this whole thing. We go from that to, the police get involved. The woman turns out to be a minor, and Mr. Boebert gets arrested for indecent exposure to someone under the age of 18. Hollywood could not have scripted a better romance than Lauren Boebert's relationship with her problematic husband. We'll keep it litigation free. Allegedly. So good for you, little Lauren Boebert. Somebody wrote a book for you. I'm sure it would have been exceedingly difficult to string sentences together in a cogent and comprehensive manner for the edification of your audience. Although I think it might have been better had you written it in the kid font with the crayons, so your audience, whoever's going to buy this book, can more easily understand. Have it be a pop-up picture book or drawn in the style of Dr. Seuss. You could have your husband be the Lorax and you be little Cindy Lou Who, or I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. Maybe volume 2, part 2 will be that. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Thank you for joining me today. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Dollemore. And if I do something for you that you think is valuable, please consider supporting me. You can become a channel member for $1.99 a month, pennies a day by clicking the join button below, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to help support what I do here. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.